Hi there, folks. Welcome to the program. This, of course, is Stinchfield, the podcast. President Trump is right. America has been taken advantage of for far too long. American dominance is back. The days of taking advantage of America are over. What am I talking about? Panama Canal. Would we really take back over the Panama Canal? We should. And I'll tell you why we should. It would have such a huge effect on all of those bad actors, all of our foreign adversaries and enemies. We could put the screws to them by controlling the Panama Canal because right now China does. That's wrong. We built it. We should run it. We sold it to Panama for $1. Are you kidding me? We're going to go through this idea of taking back the Panama Canal today. And then California instituting a whole slew of new laws. The hypocrisy behind this is stunning. And I'll show you why California is a crystal ball for what they want to do in liberal states. These laws are crazy, too, by the way. They basically expose the entire agenda of the left. But before I get into that, folks, I want to tell you about my friends over at Patriot Mobile. You know, I have a Patriot Mobile phone. 2 lines on one phone, 2 different networks. That is great. It's called the Patriot One plan. But more importantly than that, every time I make a call on this phone, I know that a portion of the money I pay for service with Patriot Mobile goes to support conservative causes, whether it's Folds of Honor, whether it's J6 causes, whether it's getting conservative members of school boards elected. All of it is so important. They call themselves America's only Christian conservative wireless provider for a reason, because they are. You know that the other cell phone companies engage in all this woke ideology. Push back against that. Say no. Get with Patriot Mobile. You can do it today. Free first month. If you use the promo code GRANT, just go to patriotmobile.com/grant. That's patriotmobile.com/grant. Do it today. Tell them I sent you, and I promise you, you get that first free month service, and then you're going to know that you're part of an army. patriotmobile.com/grant. Finally, we are putting America first. That's right, folks. President Trump is putting America first. He's now threatening to take back the Panama Canal after threatening to make Canada a 51st state, and I don't know, Greenland the 52nd state, I guess. This guy is finally saying, you know what? Enough is enough of America being taken advantage of. Canada being a 51st state is a joke. Taking back the Panama Canal is not. America got hosed in this deal. Do you know Jimmy Carter sold the Panama Canal to Panama for $1? Folks, for a Milky Way bar, they got the Panama Canal. This is unbelievable. Billions of dollars in revenue every year. In fact, the Panama Canal is Panama's #1 money maker. And who controls it now? China. Because China, through their Belt and Road Initiative, which is basically a loan shark program, has now totally infiltrated Panama, controls the Panama Canal. President Trump is 100% correct in saying, you know what, we need to go back and take this back over. Do you know, by some estimates, we lost 38,000 lives building the Panama Canal. 38,000 American lives lost, and Jimmy Carter sells the Panama Canal for $1? So the world is starting to scream, oh, no, President Trump, you can't do that. It's not yours to take. Oh, yes, it is. We have a treaty, by the way, with them. And by my assessment, they are breaking the treaty. And when they break the treaty, I think that allows the United States to go back in and take it over. Now, what was to happen if we did take it over? Well, the world would go crazy, right? Which we know the world would go crazy. China would go crazy. But, oh, man, what a blow to China that would be if we took back the Panama Canal and says, you know what, China? You knock off your cyber attacks. You knock off your stealing of intellectual property from the United States. You knock off sending overpriced goods to us and flooding our market and waging war on our currency. Otherwise, we're not letting your ships through the Panama Canal. How about that? No Chinese ships through the Panama Canal. You got to go all the way around South America. It's going to cost you about $3 million more in fuel per ship. You're not welcome here. Oh, you don't want the United States to take it over? Okay, we'll do like the Cuban Missile Crisis. We'll take the United States Navy and put a naval blockade, try to come on through any commercial vessel. Not happening. Sorry, Panama, until you make a deal with the United States that's more fair to us. I love this idea. The president of Panama says, what was his direct quote? Every square meter of Panama belongs to Panama. You know what Trump tweeted back? We'll see about that. This was President Trump at Turning Point USA over the weekend.
This complete ripoff of our country will immediately stop. It's going to stop. The United States has a big and vested interest in the secure, efficient, and reliable operation of the Panama Canal. And that was always understood when they gave it to Panama. Can you believe that? We would never have done it if we thought what's happening now can happen, and we would never, and we will never, ever let it fall into the wrong hands. But it's falling into
Pause it right there for a second. Okay, so what's really interesting is that President Trump says they. Notice that? They sold it. He doesn't say we. No, it was the United States that sold it to Panama under Jimmy Carter, one of the worst presidents in American history. Jimmy Carter, though, loves Barack Obama and Joe Biden because now he's only the third worst president in history. No, notice they're all Democrats. But President Trump uses the term they. It has become an us versus them mentality, they being radical Democrats who have it out for America, that have actively tried to put America in a very bad position going all the way back to Jimmy Carter. And us. He doesn't say when we sold the Panama Canal to Panama. He says they sold it. They being people that were not out for America. And I think the words that he chooses here are very, very important because it is an us versus them mentality that we're on now. And this is about putting America first. This is about American dominance. This is about saying, you know what? America is not going to be taken advantage of anymore. And NATO, you don't like us taking over the Panama Canal? Well, you know what? We'll pull out of your organization, too. What do we fund NATO? We're the biggest funder of NATO there is. Billions and billions of American dollars to fund NATO. We don't need you. Anything happens in the world, who do they call? Not Ghostbusters. They call the United States of America. We're literally the emergency response team for every nation. Who's helping us? Nobody. Who's trying to hurt us? Everybody. Thank God President Trump is back, and thank God he doesn't have to be reelected again, even though I'd love it. So he can do what he wants. We can run this country now with a little tough love. That's going to be an important aspect of all of this. The bad deals for America are over. I think President Trump continued here in his little speech about Panama to AmFest attendees.
It was not given for the benefit of others by a token of cooperation, but it was given to Panama and to the people of Panama, but it has provisions. You got to treat us fairly, and they haven't treated us fairly. If the principles, both moral and legal, of this magnanimous gesture of giving are not followed, then we will demand that the Panama Canal be returned to the United States of America in full, quickly, and without question. I'm not going to stand for it. So to the officials of Panama, please be guided accordingly.
This is what I need from a leader right now. This is the move that we've been waiting for over and over again. These are the moves we've been waiting for. The world's put on notice. I'm telling you what. And I notice a difference. I notice a difference in Americans. I notice a difference of people in California. There's like a sense of relief. Even from Democrats, there's this sense of relief that, you know what? We have somebody at the helm. The days of uncertainty are over. Thank the Lord that President Trump is on scene. Now, here's the thing, folks, and listen to me very carefully. We've got to get him to January 20th. He's not in yet. These Democrats are going to do everything they can do to stop him, including the assassination attempts. I don't think there's any kind of a pause in the possibility of those happening. Tricks by Jamie Raskin in the House of Representatives, Adam Schiff in the United States Senate. What will they try to pull? Will they try to pull some kind of craziness? It's not over. He's not in yet. Have we jumped a major hurdle? Absolutely. But President Trump's not there yet, and I promise you these Democrats are going to do everything they can to stop him. They are so afraid of this man's dominance to put America back in a dominant position. China knows it. NATO knows it. The World Health Organization knows it, and I hope President Trump pulls us out of that right away. All of these people know it. All these organizations know it. And President Trump, finally, America's going to be made great again. He did it once. He's going to do it again. That I promise you. Folks, so you want to be in Bitcoin, but the wild swings, the volatility scares the crap out of you. I don't blame you. So you know what I've done? I get monthly returns now, literal cash flow, being in Bitcoin, but only in mining. So the secret to success when it comes to Bitcoin is in the mining. And this is what Get21Now.com does. It's a company called NFN8. I'm involved with them. I've already started getting my checks. This is institutionalized giant warehouses of these servers. This is an impressive operation. They've been doing this for a long time. I've vetted them. I've talked to them. I want you to talk to them too. I used to buy businesses, right? I'd have to deal with employees and angry customers and paying bills and all of the headaches that come along with that. Folks, I get 21% now on my money, paid monthly. This is cash flow, baby. And look, NASDAQ is already trading Bitcoin as a commodity. This is real stuff. The future is now. Get21Now.com. You want to have cash flow, monthly payments, talk to these guys, all right? Talk to them. They've promised stuff to me, and they have lived up to every promise they have made to me. Get21Now.com. Get21Now.com. Pay them a visit today and tell them Grant Stinchfield sent you. We're talking about the Panama Canal. What an important canal that is for commerce, world commerce, not just American commerce, but world commerce, for the free flow of commerce at a price because you're not going all the way around South America. If President Trump was to shut down the Panama Canal to China, what leverage would that be against China? Nope. China, all your ships, you need to go around South America. $3 million per ship. After all, the main war we're waging right now, or that is being waged on us, is coming from China. They're our number one enemy right now. And taking back the Panama Canal, not only would we start to gain some revenue from it and put America in a better position, but we could really have leverage over China and other countries that want to do us harm. And I love the idea, and I think President Trump is spot on. I want to go out to Edward in Irwindale to talk about this, our resident liberal. Edward, what say you, my friend?
In Irwindale to
radio, my friend. Radio, turn the radio down.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Merry Christmas to you.
Let me just say, Mr. Stinchfield, the man is an idiot. This is a stupid idea. You can't just take the Panama Canal. He's been hanging around Putin too long. And you see how Putin swooped into Ukraine and decided we want some of Ukraine, so we're going to take what we want. So he thinks the Putin model is the way to do it. We'll just go in and we'll take what we want. And it don't work that way.
All right, Edward, let me ask just a couple questions. Couple questions because I'm curious.
Go ahead.
Do you think it was a good deal to sell Panama, the Panama Canal for $1 when we lost 38,000 American lives? We put so much blood, sweat, and tears. There were literally hundreds of thousands of Americans working on that.
It was a good idea. Yes, it was.
Why?
Yes.
Why?
Because occupying other people's country is a foolish endeavor. It really is. Because all you're going to do
but why
is
wouldn't
lose
then
money.
why wouldn't you sell it to them? Or why wouldn't you make a deal where, all right, well, we're going to collect some revenue. We built it. We'll partner with you on this. Why would you just give it to them?
Yeah. How about this, Grant? I own my house. Why don't you come to me and just sell my house to me? Because it doesn't work that way.
No,
but sell people's land.
But Edward, if I'm a developer and I build your house, hold on. Let's break this step by step. If I build your house and you come and you say I want the house on my property, and I build you the house on the property, I'm going to sell you the house. I'm not just going to give it to you.
Yeah. You going to sell it to me? Sure you are. It's all right for you to sell it to me if I want to sell. But for you to come in and say,
I'm saying if I built the house, if I built you the house, if you have empty land and I build you a house, you're going to have to pay for the construction. No?
Grant, we would enter an agreement that would say, I'm going to give you so much for your effort. We would do that. Okay?
Exactly.
We don't have
and
an
guess what?
agreement to
Yes,
take
we
over
do,
Panama.
Edward. Yes,
Not
we
to
do.
take
We
over
have a
Panama.
treaty with them that spells out all of this.
Right.
And
Like
they're
we
not
gave-
abiding
like
by the terms.
How we gave the Indians blankets and we gave them
Edward.
beads and shit for stuff for their land, like that, right?
All right, Edward, last little bit for you, okay?
Go for it.
You do agree that if we have a treaty and they don't abide by the terms of a treaty, then we're allowed to have ramifications for that. Yes or no?
Yes. Of course.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
That's Edward and Irwindale.
Yeah.
We appreciate the phone call. Thank you so much for calling in. As always, it's a pleasure to talk to you. That's literally all I need to hear. Yes, you're allowed to have ramifications. Bing, bang, boom. The ramifications in this treaty is we take it back. Now, why is it important to take it back? I told you, I think a lot of it comes back to China. A lot of it. It gives us leverage over our enemies. Why do we need leverage over our enemies? Because apparently, Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, has been giving the leverage to China, going all the way back to 2013. Remember when Joe Biden said there was no evidence of the Biden family, Joe Biden, doing business with China? Joe said, I don't know anything about my son's business dealings. Remember that, folks? Well, lo and behold, 2013, pictures have now surfaced. Pictures of Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, Xi Jinping's vice president. Now, you could shuffle that off as saying, okay, well, that was something to do with foreign policy, and this is Joe Biden as the vice president, and Hunter, maybe it's just hanging around his dad. But then why in the world is Jonathan Lee in the picture? Jonathan Lee, the allegations is that he's one of Hunter's top business partners. He's in the picture with Joe and Hunter and these other Chinese dignitaries. Lee is accused of arranging a transfer of stealth technology to a blacklisted Chinese tech firm. Did Hunter Biden profit off of that? Probably. Now, they're all in the photos together. This blows the whole lid off of Joe Biden saying, I don't know what you're talking about. And don't forget, there are other photos, too, with Joe and Hunter's business partners. But if there's no problem with this photo, why did Biden attorneys fight tooth and nail with the National Archives to stop the release of this photo? They did not want these photos getting out. They fought tooth and nail to stop them from getting out, and yet here they are. They have gotten out. So what happens? Do the Republicans follow up on this? I think they should. I don't think it's over. Now, Hunter Biden has been pardoned. So lo and behold, Hunter Biden's pardoned. This is all, you can't go after him. Joe Biden's not pardoned yet. He'll probably pardon himself. That's my guess. That Joe Biden will most certainly pardon himself before he leaves office. If he was smart, he would, right? All right, does anybody notice a difference with me? I've lost now, yes, if you can believe it, 12 pounds in just 3.5 weeks on the Energized Health program. The secret is in the science, but it's also in the simplicity. I am not killing myself with workouts. Yes, I work out with weights, and I always had, but I've added in a very small workout to this program. Super easy. I have a diet plan now. I am never hungry. I don't feel like I'm struggling through this diet. It is super simple. And I'm getting myself hydrated. It is all about cellular hydration, and the results you can achieve are absolutely astonishing. And I'm telling you firsthand, folks. I got involved with them. They came to me and said, hey, we want you to try this out. I said, okay. I could tighten things up a little bit, and bing, bang, boom. I'm on track, man. And I credit energizedhealth.com/Grant, energizedhealth.com/Grant. There's coaching involved in this. There's recipes involved in this. The plan is all laid out for you. And again, it is super simple. This is life-changing, mind, body, soul. It's a total body transformation. God bless the folks at Energized Health who are helping me. energizedhealth.com/Grant. Check them out today. Look, I hope you had a fabulous Merry Christmas, the best of all Christmases possible. It's a fabulous holiday. Now for us, back to the grind here, leading up to New Year's Day, which is a fine deal. And we start a new year. It's like a fresh beginning. So many things that we are going to do to turn this state around, California, to turn the country around, the United States, and we're going to get to business. Now, I do find it interesting, though, because as we move into the new year here in California, California has a whole slew of new laws, which, quite frankly, some of them are very good. Many of them are hypocritical, don't make any sense, don't go far enough. And when you think about what California is, and that is a look into the future of the rest of the country if liberals were to get their way, though I do think that with President Trump now back on scene, right? Daddy's home, baby, for sure. I don't think liberals are going to get their way across the country, but certainly what's happening in California is a crystal ball of what they want to happen. So I wanted to go through some of the laws that are now taking place for 2025. We know about the retail theft penalties. Those are good, right? So we know that prosecutors said we're not going to prosecute crime under $900 and something, and we're not going to go after criminals. Well, the retail theft laws now say there's all kinds of sentencing enhancements for stolen property valued at $50,000 or more. And this is about cracking down on the organized crime of retail theft. That's fine. That's a good thing, okay? But let's go to some of the other silly things that are in here, okay? One of them is human trafficking. Now, you would think that human trafficking would be a great new law to make sure that people convicted of soliciting a child for sex who is under 16 years old or 18 years old and a victim of human trafficking will now face stricter penalties, or will they? So on the first offense, those found guilty of soliciting a minor for sex can be charged with, you ready with this, what they call a wobbler. I don't know why they call it a wobbler, but it means that the prosecution has the discretion to charge this as a misdemeanor or a felony. Now, only in California do you have someone convicted of soliciting sex from a child that now you give the prosecution the discretion of charging this as a misdemeanor. Why would you? Why wouldn't you just make it a straight felony across the board? Now, on the second offense, then it would have to be charged as a felony. If you're out there getting caught twice, you are a really, really bad dude, because the reality is when it comes to sex offenders, when it comes to these types of crimes, child molesters, do you know 99.9% of them are never caught? So I always think, Megan's Law. You remember this, where you would sign up and you put your address in, and then you'd see if there's a sex offender living in your neighborhood. And I can't tell you how many parents would say, oh, wow, look, our neighborhood's clear. Our kids are safe. There's no sex offenders in my neighborhood. I just did a search. Or, oh, no, guess what? There's 2 sex offenders who live 2 blocks away. What a false sense of security. When I tell you that 99.9% of child molesters are never caught, what's the chance of the child molester being on that list that shows them in your neighborhood? Slim to none. Now, is it helpful that you know that somebody that's been caught is there? Of course. But it shouldn't make you feel safe that there's not a child molester in your neighborhood. So this law that gives prosecution the discretion to charge a misdemeanor or a felony, very, very bad news in my opinion. Okay? Here's an interesting one. Child influencers. So this is, you got a YouTube channel. You're a kid. Well, the truth is, if you work as a child, your parents are in charge of your finances, right? How you take the money in. You're still a kid. You're still under parents' control. This actually makes it a law that parents or guardians of monetized content channels need to have a portion of the earnings set aside into a trust. Now, on the face of it, it sounds like a good idea. But again, isn't this just government telling you how to run your household, telling you how to run your family? What if you're ultra poor, you're doing your best, your kid has this YouTube channel, now it's paying for the family. Is it the government's decision to tell the parents, no, you can't put food on your table, you've got to put that into a trust for your kid? Now, if the kid's doing really well on YouTube, the family should be set up for life. Some of these kids, it's unbelievable, the money that is in this stuff. I told my son, he's 15 years old, I said, keep going with your YouTube channel. If I would have started this stuff when I was a kid, I'd be so far ahead. And I'm going to tell you something. My podcast, which really we call them podcasts, they're not podcasts anymore. They're basically little TV shows. It's killing it. I mean, making more than most people make in a year on a podcast. I do it for a video. The money is insane in this stuff. So I'm going to tell you that if you've got a kid, nurture his desire or her desire to start a content channel. There's nothing wrong with this. Nothing. It shows creativity. You learn some business skills. You have to learn how to edit video. It teaches you a skill. You learn about messaging. You learn about communication. All things are going to take you far in life. I love the idea of it, but I don't think the government needs to be telling parents where or how they should put their money or spend their money. Now, there's another interesting law on the books here in California, job applications. There's no need anymore for a driver's license when you submit yourself for a job in California. Now, first off, what if the job requires you to drive? I have to believe you've got to show them your driver's license. This new law says employers can only require a driver's license if driving is required. So they cannot use it as a form of ID to prove that you say who you say you are. We know that identity theft is huge, and one of the reasons why identity theft in employment is huge is because of illegal immigration. So illegal immigration is so bad. We know that they're stealing identities. They're using stolen Social Security numbers in order to hire on with places, go through the E-Verify system, if employers are even using that. So the reality is the only reason California passes a law that says you no longer need to show a driver's license is because they want to encourage illegal aliens to work illegally in the state of California. It's the only reason. Again, they don't want you to show ID to vote, but yet you got to show it to get in just about every federal building in America. You got to show it to get on a plane. You gotta show ID all over the place. But yet now to get a job, you don't have to show a driver's license. Why? I'll tell you why. Because they're encouraging illegal aliens to work in this state, and they're basically encouraging employers to hire them. So everything California does is about controlling your behavior. Now, I'm a firm believer that if you work for someone, you choose whether or not to work there. We don't have slavery in this country anymore. I mean, there is child slavery, but for the most part, all right, on the big scheme of things, slavery we don't have. If I don't want to work at Salem Media, then I can quit. They can't make me work. So if you don't want to work at Target, then you can quit and you can go to work for Walmart. You can go find another company to work for. So if you don't like the content of meetings at your employer's workplace, well, then go find another employer. So this gets into work meetings. A new law in California, employers can no longer compel their employees to attend meetings where the employer conveys their political or religious beliefs. Now, you know what I find hilarious about this new law? This is going to backfire on them so hard. Because what do you think happens inside school districts across California? You know that these schools are pushing all kinds of political beliefs onto the teachers, getting them to vote a certain way, the unions especially. So I think this is going to backfire on the left because I don't think the right really engages in this. Maybe, I don't even know many companies that are saying a prayer before work, but any company I know that is saying a prayer isn't compelling their employees to be there. They're saying, hey, if you'd like to be here, come join us. If not, then no problem. So this outlaws this. I think it's going to end up hurting the left because I think the left engages in this more. Employers found in violation would be subject to a $500 penalty in all of this. So the National Labor Relations Board ruled that meetings that compel your employees to attend about political things, religious things, were illegal. So what does California need a law for then? It's all about compelling. Nobody's compelling anybody to do anything. And maybe the last law that I find the most hilarious of all, which is just gets into the total hypocrisy of California, is that freelancers, if you're a freelancer, and we know Los Angeles has a ton of those, especially in Hollywood, you have to be paid by the date spelled out in your contract, and if there's no date spelled out in your contract, you have to be paid within 30 days. Now, I like the law, except here's what California does. This is all well and good, except if you work for the state of California. If you work for the state of California, we don't have to abide by this law. Go figure. Exactly. Holy macaroni.
You woke up with a sore throat and a low-grade fever. You know you are getting sick, so here's your choices. You can get sicker and miss work, try to see a doctor this week, or sit hours in a crowded waiting room at urgent care.
I have a smarter option for you. Open your medical emergency kit. Match your symptoms to doctor-recommended prescription in your booklet and take the right meds now and get well faster.
This is not a first aid kit. It's like having an urgent care in your home. It includes doctor-prescribed medications to treat over 39 medical issues like respiratory infections, strep throat, pneumonia, UTIs, and more.
No waiting to see the doctor and no standing in line at the pharmacy. It's right here.
Every home should have at least one medical emergency kit, and here's how to order.
Order online fast and save $45. Your kit with prescriptions to treat common and life-saving illnesses is rushed to your door. Visit twc.health/grant. Promo code GRANT. That's twc.health/grant. Promo code GRANT.
Imagine going to prison for 17 years for a crime you didn't commit. You were pregnant at the time you were convicted. You have a daughter. 17 years later, that daughter's 17 years old. You've missed their entire childhood. Now, yet you still get out, at a fairly young age. These were teenagers, 15 years old at the time of this crime, where they're accused of shooting and killing Hector Flores in a shopping center off Sunset Boulevard. And yet they profess their innocence over and over again. Prosecution says all they have is eyewitness testimony. We know that eyewitness testimony is not great. They are lied to during the interrogation, which isn't illegal, and they do not give great details about how the crime was committed or even the scene, and yet still a jury convicts them. Now, the most amazing thing of all of this is I don't see any evidence, no DNA that says they're innocent. I don't know what led them to believe that they got to change it, other than that the eyewitness testimony may have been called into question. They don't have an idea, at least they're not revealing if they have an idea of who the killer actually is, so I feel horrible for the Flores family, the victim's family. And yet the prosecution comes out, and the prosecutor's office, Nathan Hochman, and said, yet they found no evidence of unethical behavior on behalf of the police or the prosecution. Well, how do you convict an innocent person with eyewitness testimony after professing their innocence, after the story's not matching up, yet you still take it before a jury, get a conviction? How is there not unethical behavior here amongst somebody? Somebody had to behave unethically. Somebody had to be like, well, you know what? There really isn't any evidence other than that they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. And yet still, they were convicted. Here are the two.
It's been unreal.
Again.
I still can't believe it. I still can't believe that I'm free.
My daughter, Danielle, today is her 17th birthday. I was 2 months pregnant when I was arrested. I got to see her twice for maybe 10 minutes each time before they took her from me. My mom raised her.
That's horrible. I mean, I can't imagine. So now what happens? If the L.A. County Prosecutor's Office, the District Attorney's Office, fully believes that these two are innocent, well, then you've got to compensate them somehow. Look, when you look at a justice system, and our justice system is not perfect, but it's probably the best one in the world, I would rather see a guilty person go free than put an innocent person behind bars every day of the week. But there are things that can go wrong in our Justice Department. You can have a rogue police officer that frames somebody, that sets up the evidence. That's when the justice system falls apart. You can have a rogue prosecutor that knows the person's innocent but is so hungry for a conviction because, you know, that's how their promotions are based off of how many convictions you're getting. And they're hell-bent on not finding justice but simply convicting. Then you have prosecutors working with rogue cops for a conviction. You can have a judge that is devious in nature. You can have a jury that's been duped or dopey, and the system breaks down. If you have a dopey jury, the entire system breaks down. Okay? You can have combinations of all of that. That's what happened to President Trump. You had a rogue prosecution in the DOJ. You had rogue police officers in the FBI. You had duped juries, and just juries that also may have been rogue as well, and judges that were totally devious in nature that were waging war against President Trump. The entire system broke down. But in many respects, you could say it was rescued because President Trump was elected to president and the people ultimately decided. This is Pleites and Palacio again here. Listen.
I just want to say how truly happy I am and how blessed I am to be standing here free after 17 years spent and a life sentence out in front of me for something I didn't do.
At one point, I thought there was no God, that I was just on my own, that he had forgotten me. God is real, as he exists, man, and I'm the proof, I'm the living proof.
So, you know, isn't that a great Christmas message? Because the Christmas message is never give up faith, no matter how dire the circumstance. I hope the hostages in Gaza don't ever give up faith. I hope you never give up faith. You know, so many people right now, Christmas is the hardest time of the year. They have so much going on. There's so many people they have to please. There are so many people that aren't around to please that make them sad. Some people are alone. Christmas is a tough time, but don't ever give up faith. Now, Nathan Hochman, the new district attorney, he came in. He said this about all of it.
I owe a heartfelt apology to you, Mr. Palacios, and to you, Ms. Playtez, for what you've gone through, for the suffering you've endured. There's no words that can truly describe what you have gone through. But I'm here to tell you today, you're here. You're amazing people. You're going to do amazing things in this world.
Well, they have a lot of time to do it. A lot of time. They're in their 30s. They can have their whole life ahead of them. This is not like someone that's been in prison for 30 years. They're now 60 and their life's gone. Horrible tragedy? Yes. One last clip before we move on.
We sent investigators out. They actually took into custody Mr. Playtez, Ms. Playtez and Mr. Palacios from the prisons, drove them here, and had them in court by 1:30. And Judge Ryan, to his credit, showed up on a Friday afternoon because he knew how important this case was. And he listened to what we had to say, and at the end of the hearing, he said he was setting aside these convictions and ordering their immediate release.
Now, what these two young people have to do is prove to society that this is a good thing. Go out and do great things, okay? That's the mandate now. You've got to go out and prove to do great things. You've now handed a gift beyond gifts. Most people would rot in prison in this. That's the sad reality. Go do great things. I'm sure they will. All right, folks, that's going to do it for us today. This is Stinchfield, the podcast. Thank you so much for watching, listening, whatever platform you're on, Rumble especially. We appreciate their partnership. God bless all of you. God bless our sponsors. God bless Stinchfield's Army. Stinchfield's Army rolls because of you. I would only ask, sign up for the email list if you can. GrantStinchfield.com, GrantStinchfield.com. Also, follow me on all the social media platforms, Stinchfield1776. And if you like this video, I hope you did. Share it. Copy the link. Tweet it out. Truth it out. Getter it out. Whatever you call it, get it out there so we spread the word and get your friends to subscribe to the podcast as well. We'll see you on the Real America's Voice show tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Thanks for watching, folks. We'll see you later.